Number 3. Trayvon Wynn. In April 2011, 24-year-old Trayvon Wynn was visiting relatives in Brooklyn, New York. Wynn lived in Rock Hill, South Carolina. He had a 16-month-old daughter, and his girlfriend was pregnant with his second child. On the evening of April 23, 2011, Wynn was standing outside his uncle's chicken restaurant in the Flatbush neighborhood of Brooklyn. He was waiting for a ride from his cousin, who was in the restaurant. As he waited, he chatted on his cell phone. A man dressed in black wearing a hood walked by Wynn. He looked at Wynn as he entered the restaurant. In the restaurant, he seems to adjust an object in his waistband, and then he puts the object into a pocket in his jacket. Moments later, he stepped back out of the restaurant and appeared to walk away. But then he circled back, pulled out a handgun, and shot Wynn twice in the chest. The man then ran away. Wynn dropped to the ground and struggled to stand. 24-year-old Trayvon Wynn was taken to the hospital and was pronounced dead an hour after he was shot. The killer has never been identified. Beyond the murder itself, what disturbed Wynn's family and some of the people in the police department was what happened after he was shot. A crowd gathered around him, but no one helped him or even kneeled to comfort him. They just watched him bleed to death on the sidewalk. One man snapped a photo of the dying man on his phone. Some members of Wynn's family believe the murder was a case of mistaken identity. They said he had not been in Brooklyn long enough to make an enemy who would want to kill him. The night before his murder, one of Wynn's cousins had been involved in a physical altercation. They think the relative was the real target. Wynn's mother was told that a witness had heard the gunman say he shot the wrong person. However, Wynn's girlfriend believes he was the target. She pointed out he had a tendency to get into trouble. He had a criminal record which included convictions for assault and weapons possession. He had served time in prison, and while he was serving his sentence, he was caught with contraband. She thinks that the short time Wynn was in Brooklyn, he made an enemy. She pointed out that the killer looked him in the face before he shot him. It's been 14 years since 24-year-old Trayvon Wynn was shot to death. His case is considered cold. Number 2. Silvano Oblida's Quintero Tolentino. On January 26, 2021, 19-year-old Silvano Oblida's Quintero Tolentino left his home in Huánuco, Peru. He was heading to Medellin, Colombia, with two men he had recently met. Oblidas planned to buy clothes and then return to Lima to sell them. But about 2 weeks after he left, Oblidas contacted his family. He said the two men he traveled with stole all his money, which was about $1,300 US. He contacted his sister using WhatsApp and asked her to send some money so he could get home. It was during the COVID-19 pandemic, and because of lockdown rules, she couldn't transfer the money to him until the next day. But his family never heard from him again. 4 days after they last heard from him, on February 14, 2021, a neighbor of Oblidas sent his family a video that had been uploaded to TikTok and was going viral. The neighbor believed that Oblidas was in the video. It was a disturbing video recorded on a cell phone. Oblidas' family instantly recognized him when they saw him in the video. He was standing on a bridge and he was being questioned by two men about where he was from. The two men appear to be strangers to Oblidas, and they are not the men who swindled him. Oblidas replied, quote, "From Huánuco, Peru," unquote. Then suddenly the man who was recording picked up Oblidas by the legs and flipped him over the bridge's guardrail. The footage is choppy, but it follows Oblidas falling over 100 feet, and then there's a loud bang. One of the men says, quote, erase that, he's dead, unquote. TikTok took the video down hours after it went live. Oblia's family went to the police. The local police contacted the police in Median and they recovered the body. The police said they believe they know who killed the teenager, but they have not been able to find them. It's been over 4 years since the murder of 19-year-old Silvano Oblidas Quintero Tolentino, and no arrests have been made. His family is still hoping to get justice for his brutal, shocking, and senseless murder. Number 1. Liz Barraza. In early 2019, Elizabeth Barraza, who went by Liz, and her husband, Sergio Barraza, had been married for nearly 5 years. They lived in Tomball, a city in the Houston metropolitan area. Liz was a data reporter for a pipeline inspection company, while Sergio worked for his father's flooring business. The couple did not have any children. Liz was obsessed with Star Wars and Harry Potter. For the couple's 5th wedding anniversary, they planned on visiting Universal Studios and Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Liz was very excited to visit the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal. The couple was planning on leaving January 26, 2018. On the night of January 24th, Liz and Sergio decided to do a yard sale the next morning to earn some extra money for the trip. They put up signs around the neighborhood, but they didn't post anything about the sale on their social media accounts. Between 6:15 and 6:45 on the morning of January 25, 2018, Liz and Sergio started setting up the yard sale. At 6:48 a.m., Sergio left work, leaving Liz alone to work at the yard sale. 4 minutes later, a neighbor called 911 because he had heard 4 gunshots. The police arrived in the area and they found Liz bleeding from 4 gunshot wounds. She was taken to the hospital. Her family decided to donate her organs. 29-year-old Liz Barraza died 4 days after she was shot. The police got the footage from several doorbell cameras in the neighborhood, and they pieced together what happened that morning. Around 2 a.m., someone in a black Nissan Frontier is seen driving around the neighborhood. The truck returned to the neighborhood at 6:48 a.m. and parked on a street. At the same time, Sergio left for work. The truck is seen 3 minutes later heading to the couple's home. After pulling a U-turn, the driver parked behind Liz's car. The killer then walks up to Liz, who is still setting up. At 6:52 a.m., Liz said good morning to the killer, and the killer said something to her. Then the killer pulled out a revolver and shot 20-year-old Liz 3 times in the torso. After she fell to the ground, the killer shot her once more in the face. This gunshot was fatal. The killer then ran to their truck and drove away. 3 minutes later, the killer drove out of the couple's subdivision, but then did a U-turn and immediately re-entered the subdivision. The killer then drove back past Liz's home again. The pickup truck was recorded several more times in the neighborhood. It's unknown when the killer drove out of the neighborhood, or if they did drive out of the neighborhood. Unfortunately, none of the cameras recorded the license plate of the black Nissan Frontier. Also, while the murder was recorded on a neighbor's doorbell camera, there was no clear footage of the killer. It's not known if it was a man or a woman. They appear to have long hair, but they may have been wearing a wig. There's some speculation that the killer was wearing a disguise. But the video is grainy, so it's hard to make any definitive conclusions about the killer's appearance. The police investigated many possible motives, but they did not find anyone who would want to kill Liz Barraza. Liz and Sergio did not have any enemies. They liked to cosplay and to dress up and go to Renaissance fairs. Liz was a kind and generous woman who volunteered at charities. The police also noted that Liz does not seem nervous or scared when she encounters the killer. Liz's father believes it was a contract killing because of how professional the killer was. For example, the murderer used a revolver so that the shells wouldn't be left behind. Also, the killer took the time to shoot her in the face after shooting her 3 times in the chest, ensuring she was dead. The killer did not steal anything. They simply walked up to Liz, shot her to death, and ran away. The entire crime was about 30 seconds. Sergio says he knows that many people believe he is responsible for his wife's murder. People find it suspicious that she was killed minutes after he left for work. However, Sergio maintains he had nothing to do with his wife's murder. He says he has fully cooperated with the investigation and has taken a polygraph exam. He says that he passed the polygraph. Sergio says he has no idea who murdered his wife of 5 years or why she was killed. He said it appears that Liz was targeted and the killer knew they could find her setting out for the yard sale. But Sergio does not think that many people knew about the yard sale. They had only decided to do it the night before the murder and they put up signs that night. They did not post about it on social media. A year and a half after the murder, Sergio met a woman named Amber and they later got married. The police have said they have not eliminated anyone as a suspect. Sergio and Liz's family hopes that her case will be solved soon. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. Also, don't forget to watch our shorts on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Once again, thank you for watching.